like me, you love fast cars, modifying them, driving them, and having fun in them. But you have responsibilities. You're older, you got a mortgage, you got a wife, kids, a career, you have bills. You can't spend all your money on your race car. But what do you do when you want to drive fast? You can get a fun car to drive at night and on the weekends, like I did for many years with my Forester here. But what if it runs into problems? A year and a half ago, I got a ringland failure on cylinder 4. This thing's a paperweight. And I have too many other priorities. I can't really spend the money to fix this thing yet. I'm gonna have to save up for a few months, maybe even a couple years to get this thing fixed. I'm gonna show you 3 family-friendly cars that are sleeper performance cars also. These cars will run all your errands during the day. Pick up the groceries, take the kids to soccer practice, but on Friday night when everyone's asleep, you can sneak out and head to Mexico for some fun. So come with me as I show you 3 fun family cars. All right, y'all, got the first car ready for a test drive. To give you a little bit of a hint, this is an SUV with a little bit of muscle car heritage in its DNA. It comes from a family with a rich history of muscle cars. And I got one word for you, Hemi. 2023 Dodge Durango RT. This Dodge Durango RT is a muscle SUV with a 5.7-liter Hemi V8, making 360 horsepower and 390 pound-feet of torque. It's all-wheel drive and has seating for 7. So if you have 5 kids, you'll have a seat for everyone in your family. It gets a combined MPG of 17 and does 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds. So if you're late to a soccer game, you'll get there in no time. Best of all, it has the Hemi V8 rumble. Let's roll. So immediately, the things I like about this car, it's pretty comfy, nice soft seats, decent room. I'm about 6'2". I kind of wish the seat would go back a little more. I feel like I'm a little more forward than I would like to be. That's not a total deal breaker for me. As long as I can, get the back tilted back enough to be comfortable, then I'm usually okay with that. So let's go for a drive. And that V8 sound, oh. All right, let's hear that acceleration. That's dope. That throaty V8 sound, man. You cannot beat that. Yeah, smooth ride. Handles pretty good, I'm not gonna go put it on some twisties or a track or anything like that, but keep in mind, this is not the top of the line model for the Durango. I mean, you have the SRT 392 above this. You've got the Hellcat Durango. This has the 3rd row, but it has the bench seat in the middle. And for me, that's kind of a deal breaker. I would prefer captain's chairs just because they're so much easier for your kids to get in and get into the back row without having to climb over seats. And they step on the seats and put their shoes all over everything, get everything dirty. So when the captain's chairs are in there, they just walk right through the 3rd row. It's got a nice infotainment center. Heated seats, everything like that. When you have a family and you're a gearhead like me, you kind of want a car that delivers on both fronts. You want something that's going to hold your family and be comfortable and be a good vehicle, but at the same time, you kind of want a little bit of the sauce for when you miss those days of your bachelorhood and racing around in your cars that you had. It's quiet, it's pretty quiet. It's smooth ride, man. That's the thing about Dodges. They cruise. It's got nice controls for comfort, like climate and things like that. And I've heard good things about Dodge's infotainment centers. The gas mileage on this probably isn't that great. I mean, it's a 5.7-liter V8. It's gonna be thirsty. It's all-wheel drive. Visibility's pretty good. American cars tend to have that coffin-like interior, it seems. Not sure why that is. Time to return this girl to her home. And then we're gonna move on to the next vehicle. Leather's decent. You got your basic controls, lumbar support, things like that. I believe the RT is going to have, you know, more than your basic Durango. Back doors are good sized. Get into them pretty easily. Just got to ask myself how, I don't know if these flip up or not. So yeah, I would prefer captain's chairs. Seats for 7. You got some good controls right here. USB ports, power, climate controls. So overall, it's not bad. I enjoyed it. Oh, powered liftgate. Goes up on its own. Nice, decent storage. Seats look like they go down pretty easily. Well, that concludes the Durango. All right, guys, I got the second car here. This car is another American SUV with a little bit of DNA of a Japanese tuner. It's twin turbocharged, it's roomy, and it's American AF. I give you the Ford Explorer ST. This Ford Explorer ST is a full-size SUV with the heart of a tuner car. Under the hood is a 3-liter twin-turbo V6 making 400 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. It has all-wheel drive and seating for 6. Captain's chairs are standard on the ST trim. It gets a combined MPG of 20 miles per gallon and does 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds. So, if your kids are hungry and you need to get your groceries home in a big hurry, this is the car for you. Push button, self-raising as well. I'm gonna go ahead and put these headrests down so I can see better. Nice thing about the Explorer ST, comes with the captain's chairs in the middle. It's got plenty of room. It's about the same size as the Durango. It's in the same class as the Durango, honestly. So, very similar vehicles. It's got the power gate, and it looks like you can lock the car here as well. There it goes. Dual exhaust. These are pretty sick, I'm gonna be honest. Let's go for a drive. So, first thing I like about the Explorer, it is bigger and roomier, definitely. You can notice that. Similar to the Durango, but I think the Explorer has better visibility, if I'm being honest. The Durango felt a little more coffin-y. Like I couldn't see out of it as quite as good. That could just be me, you know, that's just my opinion. It does drive good. It's got the nice sporty steering wheel. It's pretty quiet, pretty smooth. It does have a tiny infotainment center. And you know, I don't really have an opinion on that either way. As long as I can do what I need to do with the thing. It does have some analog controls, which is nice for your climate. That's not in the infotainment, so that's probably why it's smaller. I don't mind that, you know, I like having the old-fashioned buttons. That way you're not swiping through a screen trying to find the controls and stuff like that. They're just right there always for you to access. It's got the cooled seats on right now. I can feel the air being blown onto me from the seat. The Explorer doesn't feel quite as smooth as the Durango. I think the suspension is tighter, more performance oriented. Sounds different, of course. It's got a V6, not a V8. It is definitely a different animal. I'm just gonna do a little bit of an acceleration here. I don't know if I can get to 60. Not bad. The Explorer is definitely faster. This would smoke the Durango for sure. Put a tune on these things and they will go scorch earth. This is going to be the fastest of the 3 cars I'm driving today. I think this one would be the funnest to drive just because it has more power. You know, it's a pretty nice vehicle. It's got good visibility, which that's a big thing for me. I hate driving cars that are like coffins. And you do sit high, similar to the Durango. The third car, it's going to be a little lower. You're not going to sit as high in it. Let's get some acceleration. this thing's got some power. You do a tune on this thing, maybe some downpipes, turbo upgrade, you'll be smoking Teslas all day. Handles well, does handle well. It's definitely tighter than the Durango. So yeah, that's it though. This has been the Explorer ST. All right, you guys, I got the third car ready for the review and the test drive. So this last car, a little different from the others. It doesn't have a third row. It is a 5-passenger. These cars are well known. They have a stereotype, they have a culture, and they're very popular. A very popular brand. You'll know this car when you see it, but this particular one that I have today is the sportier version. So without further ado, the Subaru Outback XT. This 2024 Subaru Outback Touring XT is a very capable sport wagon with the spirit of its sporty brother, the WRX. Under the hood is a 2.4-liter turbocharged and intercooled boxer engine cranking out 260 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque. Yes, that is less than the previous cars, but this car also weighs significantly less than those cars and therefore has a much better power-to-weight ratio. It has symmetrical all-wheel drive and seating for 5. It gets a combined MPG of 25 miles per gallon and does 0 to 60 in 6 seconds. That's about the same as a 93 Camaro Z28. Not bad for a family wagon. This Outback also has the highest ground clearance of the 3 cars at 8.7 inches. Subaru has really upped their game last couple decades. They make really great cars. They all come standard with symmetrical all-wheel drive. Symmetrical means that everything's even and balanced. Look at that. Check this out, guys. I didn't know the Subaru had this option. See these handles? Automatically puts the seats down. That is a bummer about the Subaru Outback. It doesn't have the third row. If you want a third row, you got to go Subaru Ascent. I am no stranger to Subarus. I have had a bunch over the years. I've never had an Outback. They've always been WRXs or Foresters, but I am a fan of the Outback. They're great cars. They're super popular, very common. A lot of people drive them. You'll see them everywhere, especially here in Utah. Subarus are everywhere. Okay, let's go for a drive. Subarus drive nice. They're really smooth cars. That's kind of the aim of the company. They really want their cars to be, you know, very smooth, very soft on the body. The nice thing about Subarus, they feel very secure because they're symmetrical all-wheel drive. You don't get any torque steer. The car is very balanced and it drives balanced. You feel it in the car. I think that's one of the reasons when people start driving Subarus, they stay loyal to them. The car feels pretty peppy, you know. One of the biggest complaints from Subaru owners is that the cars feel underpowered. That's why Subaru started slapping turbos on the cars. That turbocharger just really helps up the power on the 4-cylinder. Makes a huge difference on the driving experience. But it's quiet, it's smooth, it's very comfortable. The seat it's got big lumbar support. It's got many different adjustments. You can adjust the seat. It feels like 100 different ways to suit your comfort. One of the biggest reasons I like Subarus is the symmetrical all-wheel drive. The cars, they feel very controlled. And they handle really well because with the Boxer engine, the car is going to have a low center of gravity. So it's going to handle really well. That symmetrical all-wheel drive combined with the Boxer engine just makes for a unique driving experience. The only other car company that does that is Porsche. They have Boxer engines and they're usually all-wheel drive. It's just a great performance feature. So you get that in a regular family car and you notice it. Obviously, all-wheel drive is becoming more and more standard nowadays. A lot of car companies are going that way. Subaru were kind of the pioneers of it. They were the only company doing all-wheel drive on all their vehicles back when nobody was doing all-wheel drive. And we're talking, this is like the 70s and 80s. And then in the 1990s, they started featuring those commercials with Crocodile Dundee for the Subaru Outback. So they blew up in popularity. people would drive a Subaru and be like, oh my gosh, this car drives amazing, I love it. Yeah, the Outback doesn't have the third row, but it is pretty roomy. I mean, the seats are big and the cabin's big. With the Boxster engine being lower in the engine bay, your hood is lower, so you feel like you have really good visibility. That's another thing I personally like about Subarus, is the visibility is great. All the pillars between the windows are small, but you're not compromising on safety. Subarus get huge marks on safety. They always do really well on safety. I can hear the lane assist. When you go out of the lane without your signal on, it beeps at you. There it goes. It corrects the wheel for you. Honestly, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm an analog man. I love being able to just control everything about the car. I don't like all those assists myself. Some people like them. I think cars are just becoming idiot-proof nowadays, and I don't know how I feel about that. I personally want to be able to control everything in the car. I've been driving for 26 years, car. I got this. You don't need to do it for me. Power-wise, it's pretty good for a 4-cylinder. Like I said, that turbocharger makes a huge difference. Okay, we're gonna do 0 to 60. That's 60. Not bad. Not bad. I feel like I have a ton of room. I'm 6'2". I'm a hair over 6'2". I'm not 6'3", but I'm also wide. If you follow the Burlacker on YouTube, he's 6'6". It's harder for guys like us to fit in supercars. I sat in a Lamborghini once. It was like a coffin. Couldn't see anything. The windshield was like a foot tall. I had to lean down to see out of it. It's just not my thing. Here we go. That's not bad. This car's peppy. I'll be honest, it is peppy. Not quite as fast as the Explorer ST. It is faster than the Durango 5.7 Hemi, for sure faster than that. So this is a good car, you know, I really like it. Oh my gosh. Lifted limo? That was ridiculous. 2-foot lift on a old Lincoln Town Car limo. Never thought I'd see something like that. It's bizarre. I could definitely use this as my own personal car. You know, it doesn't have the room or the power of the Explorer, but Subarus are great cars. They have a great legacy and tradition. They have a die-hard fan base for sure. So just as a bonus, another option if you don't want the Outback is the Forester XT. It comes with the 2-liter direct injected turbocharged engine. Makes about the same power as the Outback, nearly as quick, I believe. They're pretty comparable. It sits higher, has a little higher roofline than the Outback. The Outback is more aerodynamic though. The Forester is more of a toaster, but that is another option. Now, Subaru does not make these anymore, so if you're gonna get one, it's gonna be a few years old. The thing about the Outback XT is you can get them brand new. Subaru still makes these.
All right, y'all. Those are 3 great family cars that I think also have a spicy side to them. I'm sure some people are going to wonder why I didn't include a Tesla. Yes, Teslas are crazy fast while also offering enough room for a family. But, as a gearhead who grew up with only gas cars, that's what I wanted to highlight specifically for this video. Technology has really made modern internal combustion cars amazing. As a kid, the thought of a 400 horsepower family wagon was laughable. 300 horsepower was considered a lot in those days, and that was only found in performance cars like the Corvette. Gearheads like me can be happy that a 400 plus horsepower family car is fairly easily attainable. I really enjoyed driving all 3 cars. They each had their strengths and weaknesses. The Durango for its awesome V8 rumble, the Explorer for its incredible speed, and the Outback for its comfy and smooth ride. If I had to pick one myself, I'd honestly go for the Explorer ST. It hits all the marks I myself would be aiming for. It has room for 6, a good solid ride, and great horsepower with tunability for more. Plus, I think it looks the best out of the 3. It has an aggressive appearance without going overboard.
Alright y'all, that's the end of my video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the 3 vehicles I showed, and maybe other family vehicles that you would suggest that would be fun. Thanks for watching my video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.